Hello, is anyone there? If you're there, hop on and say hello. This is another random chat, and today I'm going to be just a little bit about my first day of school, and I thought you might be interested in that, and some memories that I have, and other bits and pieces that I remember. I want to know what your memories are, your first memories maybe, or your special memories from being a child. So I'm going to start straight away. My little thing I do is what's under the hat, and that is part of the subject for today. So, what's under the hat today? Well, it's the thing I did on my very first day of school. So under the hat, I have the picture I made on my very first day of school. I was actually 4 years old. It was proper school, not nursery or kindergarten. I actually had to start at 4 years old because of the way it works, the system of birthdays. And look, this is what I did on my very first day of school. I cut out the pictures, put some paint on the back. I think I was more artistic there than I am now. So I've always enjoyed craft. I'm not very good. And then at school, we made a little book. So the teacher wrote my name and I chose a picture. As you can see, it's a bit dilapidated now. And then every now and then they would do something in the class. So you had to trace your name. But if you saw my previous episode about what's under the hat, you will see I could already write my name. So the teacher made me trace it, but then I was a bit doing my own thing and always wrote it underneath. And you may have this back to front. I don't know. Let me know if you see things back to front or the right way round. And the letter A, and you had to say something, and I obviously said an apple, and the teacher would write it, and you drew it. Not very good homesteading apple there. It's quite yellow. So the next page, I don't know why, but on the back I've drawn, I think these are some wheels, who knows, but that obviously wasn't part of it. Perhaps I finished my work early. Then the next page, again, you have to trace, and I obviously wrote my own, not bad for 4 years old. And the letter obviously was H, and the teacher wrote house, and look, I'm doing my own thing again. I've actually traced over that one. And look at my lovely house. Oh, it's exactly like where I live now. We only have one floor. It's a farmhouse, so it's one floor. And then the next page, ooh, letter U. Bit random, these letters. And look, umbrella. That's pretty good, isn't it? And if you don't know, look, my name's Dawn. As I say, if it's back to front there, apologise. It's showing me back to front, so possibly. Oh, and now we're on to counting. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. And I wrote the numbers. They're pretty good. I think my writing was neater in those days. So that's those. Oh, yes, I'm obviously finishing work early here. Letter S. Scissors. Oh, look at those scissors. They're good. And I know what this is. This is sister. Not sure what the mat is. Wonder what that is. And sun. That looks like one of Sue's sunflowers and Kathy's sunflowers. So that's nice. I'm not sure what the towel is. Anyone got ideas what that is? It's definitely. Oh, maybe it's sunbathing. Don't know. Let me have your answers to that. Now we're on T. Oh, this is sweet. T. So I've got table. What's that one? Towel. Teeth. Now, my mum used to collect our baby teeth, so I'm thinking these are the teeth in the pot rather than in a mouth. I've still actually got them, the baby teeth. And this is a good one. Look, tortoise. Or some of you might pronounce it tortoise, but tortoise. What's this at the top? Oh, that is the tortoise. Look, tortoise. I've got my finger on it. So there's a tortoise. I think my drawing's quite good actually. I haven't looked at this for years. I knew I had it stashed away. Now this is something I will talk about in future episodes of my lives, because my lives aren't necessarily my life in Cyprus. It's anything about me basically. Although I've just done a live chat on different bugs and how you can get rid of different bugs. So I will do homesteading things as well. It's just where I want to chat. So this is news. What's your news? Can you tell what my news was? And it says, see the stage. Now, those of you who don't know, I started performing from the age of, well, I was dancing at the age of 3, but doing performances in London at the age of 4. So I obviously, I was dancing. My first stage show was at age 4 on the stage in London. And I've got a picture here to show you that in a minute. Then the next page, this is news. Can you tell what that is? It's pegs or pins, you Americans say, on the washing line. And it's look at the washing line, and look at me go with that writing. Look at that. Shame it's backwards. Not many more pages. Oh, you have to draw yourself. I am Dawn. Oh dear. Well, my hair is very thick. It's always been very thick and terribly curly, as you can't see from my picture here. Look at that. Oh, look, that's sad. I've got no hair, but I've got a sun on my dress. Now, I seem to recall I had a dress with, it was black actually, but with a sunflower on. So I wonder if it was that, and I only had access to a purple cushion, a purple crayon. And look, I am doing a sweet. And then, oh, we have to start writing a story. One day. That's how you start stories. And the books we read at school. Some of you might know these books. Tell me if you do, particularly if you're from England and you're around my age. Janet and John. They were the books that you read. I think they went for many years until it got to this thing. Boys couldn't do boy things and girls couldn't do girl things anymore. And then my sister is called Carol. Look at Carol. Bless, she doesn't look like that. And interestingly, she doesn't have hair. And she always had really long hair. Like the Brady Bunch, the, what's the oldest girl? Not Marissa. Oh gosh, what's her name? I know it so well. Oh, I can't think of the name. But that, and then there's one empty page with nothing else. Marsha. So my sister had hair just like Marsha. Oh my goodness. So as promised, I said I would show you a picture of me dancing. This is when I was 4. This was one of the outfits I actually wore for the show. My sister Carol is the snowflake. She was in an older class, obviously. And I am an icicle, in case you can't tell. So here's me this side. You can't see my ringlets, but I'm sure you can see from that I probably had very curly hair. This was at our house. My mum liked to take pictures. And that's that. And I actually was always in classes with much older girls, because a story about that, how I was doing sitting up with the mums while the class was on, Carol's class. And I think I might have told this story before somewhere, that to keep me quiet, not that I was a noisy child, but to keep me entertained, my mum found some coins in her purse, and I would kneel down facing the chairs we were sitting on, and I would play with the coins. just slide them around and whatever, I don't know. And then one time the dance teacher, who was very strict, she came up and she was sort of looking why the girls were dancing. And my mum's like, Dawn, you're making too much noise, sliding them around the chair. And so I stopped doing it, and the teacher said, no, let her carry on. I can see what she's doing. And while the music was playing in the dance class, I was actually, it turns out, sliding them around, making choreography. So I'd put them in lines, and then with the music, I'd make them all move round, and then I'd make different patterns with them. But as soon as the music stopped playing, I wouldn't do it anymore. And then when the music started playing again, off I would go. So she said, she's got some creative abilities. And I ended up, apart from being a professional dancer and a professional dance teacher, I was also a choreographer and a dance judge. But choreography is the thing I've always enjoyed the most. So she said to my mum, then I think she should start dancing early. So I obviously didn't go in my sister's class, but I went in the class that was already dancing. She didn't normally accept children until they were 5, but I was 3 and I got put in the class, hence why I started performing so young. So in the end, I did actually catch up with my sister right at the end of my stage school time. And basically with that, I ended up qualifying as a professional dance teacher just at the age you couldn't until you're 18. It's like a law thing. You can't until you're 18, obviously, because of income and whatever else. And I did literally qualify as soon as possible, whereas others would be maybe learning at 18. I actually qualified as soon as I could. And I qualified in different subjects, one of which I actually qualified on one of my birthdays. So the teacher looked at the exam paper that she has to fill in and was checking dates of birth, and she said, oh, it's your birthday today. So she said, happy birthday. And you're not allowed to sort of really talk back to the examiners. I just said, well, I hope it will be. So I got qualifications on my birthday as well. So I'm qualified in different dance subjects, and I'm actually known in the world as one of the very few, if not the person, who is qualified in the most different dance subjects. Anyway, we're talking about memories today. I see there's people there watching. So hi to you, wherever you are. If you want to just say hi in the comments, that's great. If you just want to watch, that's great too. So we're talking about memories, and I thought I'd also share with you, I don't have very many things that I've kept. My mum kept a lot of my stuff. But I do have my 3 favourite teddies. Now you've seen some of my dolls' houses that I've got, but here are my 3 favourite teddies. So I always remember these. I think I had them pretty soon after I was born. So this is Debbie, and you can actually wind her up and she plays like a lullaby. Unfortunately, it does work, but I can't play it because it's a famous composer's music and I don't want to be copyrighted. So this is Debbie, and she is probably as old as me, almost. And then I think I was young having this. This is Panda. So I've got lots of pictures my mum's got of me with Panda. I really remember Panda so much. And then the third one that I think I got from a friend, maybe for my 3rd birthday, this is Red Ted. And I used to always make them have their own little personalities. And those 3 were the 3 best friends of my toys. And Red Ted was a bit younger. Maybe that's because he came later. And I remember that Debbie's a girl and Panda's a boy and Red Ted's a boy. And Panda and Debbie would look after Red Ted and help him along. I always remember that. So I had to keep those and bring them with me to Cyprus. So I can't, can you see, I've got, this is my spare room. So we don't have a bed in here. I use it as my office. And you can see there's a wardrobe in there which I actually store my art stuff. And on the top of there, that's where some of my keepsakes and toys are. There's a Paddington Bear there, which is the original Paddington Bear with his boots and tags still. He's worth a lot of money. So I'll show you around my room maybe in a bit. What was the other thing I wanted to show you? Oh, I wanted to talk about memories. So apart from the memories there, I think my biggest memories were always my birthday parties and Christmas. My mum made such fantastic Christmases, and Christmases really are nothing now. We don't get presents, so that's a bit sad, really. I do miss opening presents. I know that's not what Christmas is about, but me and Mike decided when we came here we wouldn't get Christmas presents. I can't go out and drive anyway, so we just said let's put money into anything we want together, so we don't buy Christmas or birthday presents for each other. And it got to a stage where COVID came anyway, and I said to all my relatives that I buy presents for, I said, look, I can't go out to shops. I'm not going to go just to get presents, and I'm not going to even send cards during COVID because I don't want to send Mike to queue up at a post office. So I said, we're not going to send presents anymore. So they all said, okay, we won't send you anything either. So I only get a few presents normally, but last year I was a little bit sad. I didn't get anything at all, drove on Christmas Day. But we had a lovely time, the two of us. But as I say, I think a lot of it, when you're a child, my parents, I was so lucky, made such a big deal of it. You could have lots of little presents, or you could have one big present from my parents. And they said that's up to you. And we had a stocking on the end of the bed with lots of little stationery bits and little bits and pieces. So we could wake up and open that whenever we wanted, the stocking on the end of the bed. And then we had to wait for the presents for everyone to wake up and go downstairs. My dad always dressed up as Father Christmas, and he actually did that for one of my birthdays as well. And one girl, bless her, I think I was about 6 or 7, and she went home and she said, Dawn must be very popular because Father Christmas came to her house for birthday. In case you're wondering, my birthday is the 6th of December. It's not in the summer or anything crazy like that. So Christmas Day was really great, and then we always had Christmas dinner with my parents at lunchtime, and then in the afternoon I always asked for a game. I love playing games like board games, so I always said to them, well, I don't care what I get, but can I have a board game? And then we would always play that in the afternoon, so that was good fun. And then the evening, we had leftover turkey sandwiches with pickled onions and chestnuts. And I think it's quite traditional Christmas. But my mum used to make fantastic Christmases for us. And then birthdays, I was quite envied because I was so lucky. My mum liked to make parties and a big deal of your birthday. And it was essential your birthday party was on your actual birthday. So that was very important. And then, and my mum organised, she's such an organiser, and she would organise, you didn't just, even as you got older, you didn't just all hang out. She had games and like a structure to the party, which might sound a little bit OTT, but they were good. And I must say, everyone said they were fantastic. And my grandfather used to go to balls and things. He's quite associated with our royal family in England. And he went to all their balls and functions and everything. And they used to play, you would think a little bit pompous, they wouldn't play games, but they used to play games, the adults at these balls and things. There would be one game each time, something really off the wall, and not games we've heard of. They like used to make up things, and they were so good that he used to tell mum what the games were, and then mum would organise them for my birthday parties. As I got older, they were really good. Just silly things. I mean, they were so diverse, but one, for example, was at the ball, the wife would be given a small bag, and in the small bag would be just oddments, like we would say little ends of material and like little scavenger stuff, and they would be given, say, 15 minutes to make a hat for the wife. So the wife would sit on a chair and the man would make a hat. So these kinds of things. And all my friends used to love my parties. They used to say, oh, these are really terrific. These are really good. And all sorts of things. Oh, one was, I know another game that people used to love, but you could only play it once and that was it. Everyone used to go out the room and then one child would come in one at a time and would be blindfolded. And you'd say to them, right, this is Lord Nelson, the history of him. Remember that, blindfolded. And they said, okay, here you're going to feel part of his ship that was discovered. And you'd get them to feel an old bit of wood. And they go, yes. And then they'd say other things, I can't remember what else. But then one thing they would say is, and he only had one arm. And here's like part of that arm, and you'd have someone with a jacket over their arm. You make them feel the arm, and remember, blindfolded, so they were well creeped out. And then they'd say, and you know what else he had one of, don't you? And they go, no. And you used to say one eye, and you might stick their finger in an old like squidgy tomato, and they'd scream their heads off. You couldn't play this now, could you? And they'd scream their heads off. And remember, all the other children were outside the room, and they'd be like, what's happening? What's happening? And then you do the next one. And obviously the one that's played the game stays in the room and they see the reaction of the others. But loads of those sort of games. So as you can see, my parties were pretty cool. And everyone used to say they were the best, and they were. And I thank my mum so much for like really making them great parties. So yes, and I did have one friend where she told her mum and they tried to copy the games, but it was all the same children practically. So yes. So that's sort of some of my memories. If you've got any memories of your childhood, what else did I have at my parties? Oh, the food. That's something I remember, not just the games, but the food. We always had a blancmange. Do you all say blancmange? We had a blancmange, and my mum put it in a mould, and it was a rabbit. And every birthday you could choose what colour rabbit. And then she used to make jelly, jelly, and she used to make one of those and then mush it all up and put it round the edge. And she used to make it a green jelly, and that would be the grass. So we always had that on our birthdays. And then obviously a birthday cake my mum would always make, and she'd say, what birthday cake do you want? What do you want it to be? And I remember mostly I used to say I want the number. So whatever age I was, she had to make a cake to represent, say, number 7 or whatever it was. I remember that a lot of the time. Obviously, I went through eras of I wanted ballet dancers on the top or whatever else. Although I'm a great lover of dancing, and I did toe dancing, dancing on your points, like on the shoes with the tops. Although I did a lot of that, I actually don't like ballet as in going to watch a ballet. And I don't like so much like pictures of ballet dancers and all that. So I've got a lovely picture of these toe shoes, point shoes, in a row, all different colours. I think you might have seen that in one of the backgrounds of one of my very first videos where I chat about moving to Cyprus. I think it's in the background because that was in my dance studio reception room. So I think you might have seen that picture. But I'm not a lover of one of these who has ballerinas on everything. Although I love ballet, it wasn't my favourite subject. That's my favourite subject. Oh, I like disco when that came out. I'm of the era when disco appeared. And I was sort of young teenager at that point. So that was the era. And Fame. Fame was out when I was at stage school. And we used to go across the road to Kentucky Fried Chicken. And where you used to queue, they had one of those metal barrier things. So you could queue one side and then round the other side. And when we all went across to Kentucky for lunchtime at stage school, we used to go in our leg warmers and just have like a cardigan over or whatever. And we used to, while we were waiting in the queue, put our legs up on the bar and do all this stretching and that, going, yes, we do really do it like Fame, just having a laugh. That used to be so funny. That was great. So yes, what games did we play at the parties? Oh, musical bumps, obviously. We played the music and the music suddenly stops and you sit down. Last one to sit down's out. Musical statues, which basically is the same. What else? Oh, musical chairs. I used to like musical chairs when you have chairs in a line, but every alternate one is facing the opposite way, and then you dance round them. When the music stops, you have to sit on a chair, and obviously that's quite fun. So yes, I would say my memories are mostly my parties, my birthday parties. I've got lots of dancing memories, doing shows. I would say of my favourite time in my whole life is doing shows. I just love it's that whole backstage thing I like, rather than the actual dancing on stage itself, which is great. It's that backstage thing. It's really a buzz. And I produced a lot of shows as well as choreographing them, actually produced. I know I wrote a lot of shows, and I've, well, maybe I'll show clips of those at some point, I don't know. But I still enjoyed putting on the shows and the backstage things. It's like I did a lot of professional work for dancing and that kind of thing, and TV work and films and things. And although I enjoyed it doing it and it was excellent money, I got more thrill of when I was older and ran my own stage school in London. And I got such more of a thrill of putting those children and the adults into TV and films themselves. I got so much more out of it. And I got to a stage where I was well known and my school was well known. So basically, I often got asked to send me some people for this, that, and the other, although they still had to audition. And because they all got the parts, um, I wouldn't say I got bored with that. It was just too easy that you knew they were going to come back and say they got into things. That I wanted to push myself some other direction. So I had Yorkshire Terriers, which you may know, and one of them I started putting into theatre work. And I must say, paid professional fees and free food all the time they were there, and that became quite a thing as well. So, and it wasn't a trained dog, it was just such a placid dog. It was Paws. If you look at my other channel, Tranquility Through Life's Natural Beauty, I've actually got all videos of Pip and Paws, were my first two Yorkshire Terriers, and I actually got videos of them all the way through from when I first got them as puppies, and I'm working through all the way to when they have their own puppies, and we actually got videos and all that, so I'll show those at some point. But Paws was just such a placid dog, so as I say, look at those videos on my other channel and you'll see which one Paws is. Pip was the prettier one, dare I say, and she actually did one dog show. I'm not really into all that sort of thing, but it was a fun dog show, and everyone said I'll put her in because she was so small and sweet, and she was pretty. So I put her in, and she won first prize. So, but I didn't want to really do that kind of thing. Everyone said I should have done, but they weren't trained. Obviously, you sit and that kind of thing, but they weren't trained in any respect. So Paws basically, most of her acting, most of her career she did was different versions of Wizard of Oz through lots of different companies and different shows. She knew the part well. And they were surprised how the first time she did it, that they actually said, oh, we'll keep her on the lead all the time. I said, you don't need to. And in the end, I think you can see in the film that they've got the lead on her, but they're not using it. And they wanted to actually have her sitting in the basket and sort of have her in a basket at one point. And they said, would she do it? And I said, as long as you put something soft in there that should be comfortable. And also, can I take the basket home for a while? So she kept going in the basket. So it became like her little basket. I've got the basket here. Actually, if you look at my video, again, it's on Tranquility Through Life's Natural Beauty. If you go and look on that, I've got a video about how to make a cushion, a pet cushion, and that is the basket. So that's in there. Yeah, she did really well with that, and everyone's like, oh, lovely, and all that. And she's actually in the program, you know, where they put a professional program, a picture of each actor, and then they put a bit about them. They actually did that on Pause as well. I'll find that somewhere because that is really sweet. They did her like, but she was a main part. And I think it's funny how they had two girls playing Dorothy, the main part, and because the amount of times they did the show, they had to alternate them. But the poor dog had to work full time, no standby there. So yes, and the only thing I was concerned about was obviously accidents on stage. No, there wasn't any. And they said, we're sure this is why some people are coming to the show. They couldn't believe that the dog was on stage so long. They thought it was just going pop on and off. But they gave her a break. There's a bit of the film, I think it's, I can't remember. Anyway, there's a bit of Wizards where the dog's not really in it anyway, but she was in most of it. And the other thing I was concerned about is all the audience when the Wicked Witch of the West, whatever she is, comes in. And of course, it's a bit pantomimey, and the audience will be all booing. And I thought, oh, how's that going to affect her? But it was all right. They just kept stroking Pause at that point. So, yeah, that was quite interesting. I've got lots of stories. If there's anything you want to know about anything at all, I'm going to do, as I've said many times, a live Q&A when I hit 2K. So then you can ask me anything about anything, any subject, whether it be my normal homesteading or my life in Cyprus, anything at all, my past, just any questions. I'm actually helping people relocate to Cyprus as well. So I think I'll finish off today just by showing you around my room a little bit. I can't move you around, you're on my laptop, but I thought, as I've said, this is my study. So we have the board here, there, no, there, the big whiteboard. That's basically postings. As I said, I've got my crafts. I've got a bookshelf here, and this whole bookshelf, it goes 3 shelves down, is all my Greek, everything Greek. I do my Greek. The picture here is again on Tranquility Through Life's Natural Beauty. One of the pictures I made pressing the wildflowers here. So there's that. The clock up here does have that ballet dancer on. And the reason for that is when I ran the dance school, we used to sell products. So parents wanted to buy gifts and presents for the children. So that was the last one we had left. That was the sort of one that we had on the show. So we've actually got two. So we've got one down the studio as well. The screen here you've seen in my other videos. I've got nothing in the back of this shop now, so I don't need to use it anymore, but I rigged this up just when I was first testing lives because I didn't want to check what I had out at that point. That can probably disappear now. And above it, just behind it, is a picture. It's a Winnie the Pooh picture, and that was, I did a London production of Winnie the Pooh. Actually, that's one I wrote, adapted, and we did Winnie the Pooh on stage, and everyone clubbed together and got me the big picture of that. The door, that is where the kitchen is. So if you've looked at my first few videos on this channel, I show you all indoors and what we did to the farmhouse. You can probably just see the dresser there. So the front door is opposite that to the house, and you come into the dresser and the breakfast area, and it's the kitchen. Feathers over here. You can see the big peacock feathers, and they're in a big vase there of loads of different feathers. Underneath that is my makeup box. There's everything else. The exercise bike is just over the shoulder. I just sit there, and when people put videos up of walks or driving along tracks and that, I put it in front of the screen and I pedal along. I haven't done that for a long time because we've had a heat wave here, but that's good for some of you, for a good idea that you can literally jump on an exercise bike and watch your videos of walks, and you can go along exercising. So I think I'll leave it there for today, guys. Thank you to all those I see that are on. Anytime, jump in for a chat and I'll chat along with you. And until next time, Meraki.